Well, folks, we're back. And Gwen's back as well. Hot dog, Gwen. I'm glad that you're back. We're joined by Alfred Adask, and we were just talking about Nazi Germany and some of the things that they did and employed, and of course, they considered us, people, the general populace, animals, and it really is genocide, Gwen.
Yeah.
And think about this too, because we were just talking about this before the show, Alfred. It was you had brought up the Chippewa people, right, Gwen, and how they get their licenses. Who issues their license? Gwen, did you?
Fish and Game.
Yeah, the Department of Fish and Game. That's where they get their driver's license from. The Department of Fish and Game.
Not their driver's license. Their tribal identification.
Our tribal identification card.
And it's a blue card, and right on it, it says, managed by the Department of Fish, Game, and Wildlife.
Mm-hmm. Isn't that interesting?
It is.
So it kind of parallels exactly what you've been saying.
Sure, absolutely. And what is astonishing to me, the first time I saw this, again, I couldn't believe it. I thought they must be crazy. They wrote it. And then I read it a second time. I say, wait a second. And then you find it in the federal law and say, oh, my God. And what is astonishing, again, best of my knowledge, I'm certainly the first layman to read the law and understand what it means in a century.
But does it only go back, and Gwen was saying this too, does it only go back 100 years? Because you're right, at one point in time, this country, they tried to break away from the oppression, from the tyranny, from the despotism, and they did so by exercising that right that's given to us by our Creator. I mean, it's a God-given right. God gave us all free will, and no one, that's one thing that I say often on this show, is that no other human being can take it away. God gave us that. And
in fact, I don't even like to use the term human being. No other man or woman is the term I prefer, and I think it's probably legally correct. You start using persons and citizens and inhabitants and anything. If you're anything other than a man or a woman, you're asking for trouble. If anyone describes you, are you the person that did such and such? No, I'm the man that did that.
Absolutely.
I'm the man. And you got to hang on to that. I think it's important. I don't think, it may not be absolutely critical, but it's part of a mindset. You were talking earlier about the people having problems with raw milk.
Yes.
And there is a similar threat right now where the government is going to shut down some of our access to vitamins. I haven't read the relevant law on this, but it's a virtual certainty when they're talking about food, they're talking about vitamins, they are ultimately talking about drugs. All right? One way or another, it'll be implicated. I believe that the insight that we picked up in this case, again, we were threatened. The Attorney General had invested, before it was done, they'd invested 6 years and nearly $1.5 million in prosecuting this case. And they just dropped it. We haven't heard from them since 2007. We never did get to court. They just realized they can't take this issue to court. I believe the same thing would apply with people that are dealing in raw milk. I believe the same argument should be able to stop any attempt to take away our vitamins.
Have you happened to get in contact with anybody that's fighting this?
I've tried. I've reached out to a couple of people and I've said, look, here's what we've done and here's what's happened. And if you're curious, here's where you can find information on it. And I've had no response. And it's not surprising because I think the average person hearing this description, they're scared to death. The government's coming after them. They're trying to take their farm or shut them down. They can't make any more raw milk or take their vitamin company or whatever. They are so terrified, and they don't understand anything about the law themselves. They are bound and determined to trust some attorney, all right? So they're not going to listen to some crazy man like me who comes up and says, look, we've done this and it worked. It worked one time. It doesn't prove that it'll work forever, but if you understand it, I don't think this can be stopped.
And I mean, think about it.
If you can present it to a jury, I don't think they can touch you.
That's exactly right, because of the people that make up that jury, you got to think that half are going to be Christian of some, or at least God-fearing.
I agree.
So I mean, it only works to your advantage.
I don't even care if they're atheists when you understand that this is an act of genocide, and it's the sort of thing that governments and societies always do when they are going to destroy a people, the first thing they do is they declare that particular group to be nothing but animals. It is a historical fact. Here the government is declaring us to be animals. There's no way you can get around this. I mean, an atheist has got to look at this and say, holy crap, I don't want to be treated like an animal by the damn government. The only way you get out from under is you got to grab
Gwen, your mic's going crazy, Gwen. Go ahead and try and restart that. So one thing, you've got your radio show 3 nights a week, right, Alfred?
Yeah.
Okay, and that's American Independence Radio?
American Independence Hour, and it's on American Voice Radio. And in fact, I have to leave here in a couple of minutes to go to do my own radio program at 10 o'clock tonight, or 10 o'clock Central Time.
And where can people tune in?
American Voice Radio. We're also at 3.125 on shortwave. And you can also pick it up on Worldwide First Amendment Radio, which is also, we've got 2 internets and 1 shortwave. And it's not Rush Limbaugh, but we do what we can and try to communicate different ideas on there. And visit the blog. If you have any curiosity about this, I have a blog at Adask, adask.wordpress.com. It's just my last name, Adask, adask.wordpress.com. And go to the blog, and on the right-hand side, there's a list of categories, and the very top category says man or other animals. You click on it, and it will take you to all of the articles that I've written that dealt with this particular subject matter, including articles, the documents that we sent to the Attorney General in the first place, where we declared we're not animals and laid a religious foundation, said we're not animals. You can't declare us to be such.
What a fantastic defense. I mean, and my hat's off to you, because you're right. It truly is groundbreaking. And it really is when you talk about the New World Order, there's nothing new about the New World Order. It's been the same world order for hundreds of years, if not 1,000 years. And that's the way they've treated the people.
It's essentially a pagan religion where they treat all people as animals.
Absolutely.
Again, prohibited in Article 1 or the First Amendment. It prohibits the establishment of religion. Insofar as the government is passing laws that regard the people as animals, they are arguably at least, creating a pagan religion and imposing it upon the people.
Well, thank you for coming on the show tonight. I don't want to keep you because I know how hard it is to prepare for a show. Mm-hmm. And I'd love to have you back, because you put out some great information, and watchmen like you really do a great service to all the men and women and children, not only of this country but the world. So my hat's off to you, and I salute you, sir.
Thank you, Joe. It was a pleasure being on the program. Nice to talk to you, Gwen, and hope to do it again sometime.
Absolutely. Have a good night.
You too. Good night.
Good night, Al. Thanks.
Good night. Mm-hmm.
Well, folks, I mean, like I said, it's Adask, ADASK.wordpress.com. Wealth of information on that website, and you can also, he has a radio link there. You can actually go and listen to his archives, too, of his radio show. Fantastic show. He's done a lot of research, and really, Gwen, I mean, if you think about it, that's one heck of a defense.
Yeah, it is, and I think we need to, we talk about that in the sovereignty movement too.
Sure.
The difference between domicile and residence, and, the government and the corporation and a person all being the same by definition. It essentially does the same thing.
Exactly.
It puts us all into a non-human, a non-living state of being in law.
Boy, I'm so glad your microphone works again.
I tell you what, I'm ready to take this computer out and use it for target practice. Oh, it's aggravating. I've done everything I know how,
I'm just totally offended by it all. I can't take it. It's crazy. Are you there?
I'm here.
Okay, good.
It's in and out. I hear you and I don't. It's just.
Hey, it's okay. Now, hour number 2, folks, we're going to go over some of the top headlines of the day, and also some interesting information that you dug up, Gwen, especially about that executive order that Obama signed, granting permission for Japanese special forces, 2,500, to come over and protect Japanese property. Hello? What's that all about?
Well, I think we need to talk about that, Joe.
Heck yeah, we'll be talking about that the next hour. So everybody sit tight. Hour number 1's in the books. Hour number 2 coming up. You're listening to Freedom Link Radio on the Orion Talk Radio Network. Don't go away.